that we we can go looking there. When you start creating names from the past, either former NBA players that are hanging around an organization, that's incredibly insulting. And I think at this point in our league, that's considered irresponsible. And I'm not calling Derek Fisher that. I don't mean to tie those two. Derek Fisher at least has coaching experience in the NBA, and I just think at this point we just want to see everyone being responsible about it, whether you're an NBA franchise or a WNBA franchise, that it's about opportunity, and we should be doing the responsible thing.
I'm going to ask you about Taj here in a second. I do want to tell you about Shelly Boyen-Breen and her Shelly Being the Sports Queen books. Girls' participation in sports and fitness is exploding, but the toys they play with and the books they read don't represent that. Did you know in the U.S., less than 1% of children's picture books published annually have a female character who is physically active? Shelly Being the Sports Queen book series is changing that one book at a time and makes the perfect holiday gift for the child in your life. Follow along in each book as Shelly, being the sports queen, learns a new sport. It's not easy for her, but she never gives up. And to reward herself at the end of each story, she makes a new sports charm for her crown. She is proud of what she's accomplished. Then use the tips at the end of each book to learn how to shoot a basketball or ice skate yourself. Meet her best friend Maya and her buddies Parisa and Mason. And don't forget Shelly Bean's trusty little dog Spike. He's always up to something. To purchase your copies, go to ShellyBeanTheSportsQueen.com and enter code LynxCoachReeve at checkout. Save 15% off the cover price. Check out the new 5-pack, the Shelly Bean poster, become a member of the fan club, and much more. Again, ShellyBeanTheSportsQueen.com, LynxCoachReeve. And we do appreciate Shelly for coming out to the show last week and for sponsoring this program. Any idea what's next for Taj? Is she going to be an assistant there? Is she moving on?
Taj is actually participating in the NBA's internship program. It's a 2-year commitment, and so Taj is taking that on. And I don't know, what the path will be for her. I know that a number of people, have been hired into NBA, WNBA jobs, from the time that they spend there in their training for 2 years. So I'm anxious to see what comes of it for Taj.
I asked Danielle Robinson at the show, I didn't want to ask her what's going to be like to replace Llewellyn. She's going to get the question a million times, and there's no good answer for it. But I am interested in her mindset as she prepares to be the obvious starter for a team that's won a lot of championships. How do you think she's doing in that regard this winter? Because it's obvious she's around and she's working like crazy.
She is. She has exactly the right temperament, the right approach, and I'll be really excited. I think when the first person asks her, make a comparison, that she just looks at him dead in the eye and says, "I'm not Lindsay Whalen.
Yep.
Don't expect me to be. I'm Danielle Robinson, and this is what I'm going to do." And Danielle, I think, is anxious to get her career back on track. We talked about this a little bit in the last show that, there's a 3-year gap in her career, and but it's not just going to happen because we talk about it. It's going to be because we understand exactly the places that we need to improve or make sure that we accentuate as far as her game. And so, as you mentioned, she's been here, rehabbing and working really, really hard and is positioning herself to be healthy, at the start of our season. We're going to get some really good court time with Danielle, and we'll have a couple other players in and out of town, and so she'll be working with them. So I think quality time at connecting with her teammates, and that is her team. I think that a player like Simone, I think she's excited, to play with Danielle. I think Simone needs a player like Danielle next to her, that might be, fast switch muscles, that can be a balance, to how Simone plays, to create easier shot opportunities, for Simone. We don't want to live, too long in this place of, Simone from 2011 where, she gets her dreads popping and is playing one-on-one and making tough shots with people hanging on her. I'm okay with seeing that once in a while, but that's not going to be the place that Simone's going to live, very often, just because it's so draining. And it's not when we're at our best. And I think that Danielle's going to help bring out some easier opportunities for Simone. Her connection with Sil. I think that, I was just watching some highlights on something I was working on, and Danielle's ability to find Sil in pick and roll situations is really good, different than Lindsay Whalen. And so there are parts of Danielle's game that that's going to be different, that we're ready to kind of say, okay, so we used to do this with Lindsay, that part, that's over, and we're going to do this right here with Danielle, and it's going to look a little bit different. There's certainly, you can't escape the idea there'll be talk of, can she be as successful? Lindsay's one of the all-time great point guards in the history of our league.
And nobody in Minnesota sports has won the way Lindsay Whalen has
That's
won.
exactly right. And, I think people get it. I think our fans have really embraced Danielle. Danielle's not shied away from what she wants to be for this franchise. And so I'm excited just to get her on the court as a leader, that this is her team. She hasn't had that in 3 years. And I think she's somebody that's going to handle that pressure well. She won't see it as pressure. She's going to see it as something she really enjoys. Her team is going to feed off of what she does. She'll need to take a step leadership-wise. That'll be a little bit unfamiliar for her, just because we haven't had a lot of time in the trenches together. But we're gonna break off big pieces, and I think Danielle's ready and up to the task.
Let's wrap up this show by mentioning that Lindsay Whalen has her team up to 13th in the nation. I did a column on her last weekend, I think, just talking to her, and she just said, I said, listen, you don't really know what you're getting into. Especially when you haven't been even an assistant coach before, just how do you feel about it? She said, man, I love it. She just seems to be embracing it. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on her early success and maybe any conversations you might have had with her.
Well, one, how do you not love coaching when you've won every game that you've coached in? So
I guess that helps.
I think I would feel the same. But I also read some quotes. I think it was from your article, Jim, too, that Lindsay also understands that it's not just about right now.
No.
That it's a build for who they want the program to be, what they want it to look like, and so it's it'll go beyond sort of this 10-game success. They're going to hit bumps in the road. Every team does. Every season has those challenges, and I think Lindsay will really shine in those moments because she's so well versed in how to handle sort of the bumps in the road, and so obviously she's off to a great start, and I don't think she expects to go undefeated. And, what she learns in those moments of those tougher games, that will just really kind of help, shape in the players' eyes really who Lindsay Whalen is. And that's when they're going to see her very best. I've enjoyed watching Lindsay. You can see the things that they work on. You can see that there are players that they're working on certain things with. And there's moments in a game when a player will do maybe what it was they were working on. You can see Lindsay really acknowledging that, and she's just been terrific. And I think it's again, I've said this. Mark Coyle took a leap of faith, because that hiring of alums doesn't always work out. And I think he realized what he has in the way of how special Lindsay has been to Minnesota sports.
And one thing I try to highlight in the column too is that she had built a very interesting staff. They have ties to the University of Minnesota or to Lindsay's past, and it just seemed like you and I attended one practice together. It just seems like they work really well together. And
she put so much time into that, and I know that was the first order of business. You didn't do anything until you put your staff together, and she was so thoughtful and detailed about what she wanted to look like, and she went after people. I mean, the Carly Tebow hire was a really great hire. To be at a Mississippi State, a team that was so successful and was going to continue to be successful, but she wanted to be a part of this thing with Lindsay Whalen, and obviously history, with their family, with the Tebow family, but really, really great get. And I just thought Lindsay was really smart. People that you can trust, that understand you, but aren't going to necessarily tell you just because you want to hear something. That they're going to be able to say, I don't know about that way. Maybe we should do this. And Lindsay's going to have the confidence to say, I hear you, but we're still going to do this. But have that kind of, that back and forth. And those are the staffs that you bring out the best in each other, and sometimes it works out. Sometimes you say, hey, I told you so, whatever it is. But, that respect when you walk out of the office that you're all on the same page.
And if you're new to this podcast, I do recommend you go back to last week's show from Dots Gray Cafe, where we had Rebecca Brunson and Danielle Robinson and Marnie Gellner on the show. It was a blast. Also, if you're interested, go back and find the the show we did when we went over to Lindsay's office, and Cheryl and Lindsay talked a lot of basketball. That was really cool stuff. Thanks to all of our listeners. We appreciate it. We're expecting a really big year in 2019. Thanks again to Lori Ramsey of SuccessfulMarketingGroup.com. Please check out her website, and to Shelly Boyen-Breen and the Shelly Bean, the Sports Queen book series, which is really cool. We've had her books out at our live shows to show off to people. We recommend checking that out as well. So thanks to Cheryl. Thanks to all of our listeners. We'll talk to you next week when we plan on doing a year-end retrospective. It should be interesting.